Have you ever felt that deep bass at a concert, vibrating right in your chest? Or maybe a piece of music hits you so hard it actually gives you goosebumps? Well, today we're diving into an idea that takes that physical feeling to a whole new level: sound healing. Now, this is an ancient practice, for sure, but it's one that science is only just beginning to explore. So let's get into it.
This quote from Sufi master Hazrat Inayat Khan really sets the stage for us. It suggests that sound is way more than just something we hear, right? It's like a fundamental force that's woven into the very fabric of reality. It's this profound idea that the universe itself has a song. And if we can understand sound, we can maybe understand, well, everything.
So, how do we get a handle on a mystery that big? Well, we're not going to start with the entire cosmos. Nope. We're going to bring it right down to Earth and start with something super simple, something tangible that almost all of us have seen: a single crystal wine glass.
All right, so this brings us to our first big idea in this explainer. Sound isn't just something you hear with your ears. It is a physical force. It's a wave of energy that can actually interact with and change the physical world around it.
See, every single object in the universe has what's called a resonant frequency. You can think of it as its own unique vibrational fingerprint. And you've seen this in movies, right? An opera singer holds a really high note, and a wine glass across the room starts to hum, it starts to vibrate. If she holds that exact note, the glass's resonant frequency, and just amps up the volume, the vibrations become too much for the glass to handle, and boof, it shatters. That is sound, literally breaking matter.
Now, that sounds a little destructive, doesn't it? But here's the really crucial point. Unlike a rigid, fragile wine glass, our bodies are incredibly flexible and dynamic. The theory behind sound healing is that our cells don't shatter under vibration. Instead, they can actually respond to it in a really positive, harmonious way.
And this leads us to this really beautiful way of thinking about how all of this works. Let's try to imagine your body not as a machine, but as a musical instrument, or, even better, as an entire orchestra. So, according to sound healing theory, every single part of you is vibrating. I mean, each organ, each bone, and even each individual cell has its own unique resonant frequency. And when everything is healthy and working the way it should, all those individual notes combine to play this beautiful, harmonious symphony. That's your own unique composite frequency.
So, in this way of thinking, what is illness? Well, as the philosopher Rudolf Steiner put it, it's not some foreign invader. It's simply a part of the orchestra playing out of tune. One instrument is just a little off-key and it creates a dissonance that throws off the entire performance.
Okay, now this is where things get really cool, because we can ground this theory in some actual physics. Just look at these numbers. Sound travels through air at about 760 miles per hour, but through water, it's over 4 times faster. And our bodies, well, they aren't just empty air.
Our bodies are about 70% water, and that makes us incredible conductors for sound and vibration. So that music of our internal orchestra, it isn't just a nice idea, it's a physical reality. Sound waves are literally traveling through us far more effectively than they do through the air all around us.
Okay, so if the body is an orchestra that can go out of tune, how exactly does sound retune it? Well, proponents of this point to 3 core principles that all work together to help restore that harmony.
We are back to resonance, but this time we're using it in a constructive way. So instead of shattering a glass, think about 2 tuning forks. If you have 2 forks that are tuned to the exact same note, say middle C, and you strike one of them, the other one, just sitting there nearby, will start to vibrate all on its own. It just picks up the energy. The idea here is that a healthy frequency can be introduced to an out-of-tune part of the body and encourage it to start vibrating back at its correct, healthy rate.
The second principle is called entrainment, and this is just fascinating. The classic example is this. Picture hanging several pendulum clocks on the same wall. You start them all up, and their pendulums are swinging totally out of sync. But if you come back in a few hours, something amazing has happened. The most powerful or dominant rhythm has caused all the other pendulums to lock in with it. They're all swinging in perfect time. A strong, stable frequency can literally pull weaker, chaotic frequencies back into harmony.
All right, our third principle, intention. This one moves a little bit beyond pure physics. Think about the difference between just random noise and a mother singing a lullaby to her child. The sound waves might be similar, but the focused energy, the purpose behind them, is completely different. Intention is that focused consciousness that you put behind the sound. Sound healing pioneer Jonathan Goldman basically boils it all down into this really simple formula. It's not just about finding the right note, the right frequency. It's about combining that frequency with a focused, positive intention, and that combination is what's believed to create the therapeutic effect.
So, with all this talk about frequencies and tuning forks and instruments, what's the most powerful tool for sound healing? The answer might actually surprise you. It's not some fancy crystal bowl. It's the one instrument you carry with you every single day.
It's your own voice used in a practice called toning, and it is incredibly simple. It's literally just making a sound, like ah or oh, with a long vowel for an extended period. That's it. The idea is that the vibrations you create resonate directly throughout your own body, from the inside out.
And the research that's cited in the source material suggests the benefits are pretty remarkable. I mean, this simple act can potentially boost your immune system, trigger the release of those feel-good endorphins, lower blood pressure, and just significantly reduce stress. You're essentially using your own built-in instrument to tune yourself up.
And I think this slide just illustrates the fundamental difference in philosophy so perfectly. Imagine a piano key is out of tune. One approach might be to drug the key so it's quiet, or in an extreme case, just rip the wire out. The sound healing approach asks a different question. Hey, can we just find the right frequency to retune that wire and bring it back into harmony with the whole piano?
So let's look at a quick case study from the source material to see this in practice. There was a patient who'd been in constant pain for 15 years after a bad car accident. He also had really limited movement in his neck. And this was his record just 1 week after a sound healing session that was focused on toning. He said he felt a real high, that constant dull ache had become intermittent, and he had regained full movement in his neck. Now, it's an anecdotal account, of course, but it's a pretty powerful one.
So, as we wrap things up here, we've gone on quite a journey. We started with the idea of cosmic sound and brought it all the way down to the vibrations inside our very own cells. We've seen how sound can be viewed not just as something we hear, but as a fundamental organizing principle of our health.
The poet Goethe once said that architecture is frozen music. He was talking about the same harmonic ratios that people like Pythagoras discovered in musical intervals, ratios you also find in art, all through nature, and even in the proportions of the human body. It's this beautiful idea that harmony is a universal language, whether it's expressed as sound, or shape, or biology.
And that brings us to our final thought, a question for you to just reflect on. If your body really is an orchestra, this symphony of vibrating cells and organs and bones, what song is it playing today? Is it a symphony of harmony and wellness? Or is there maybe a note somewhere that's just a little out of tune?